Can you sell me this pen? Can you sell me this pen? Oh, we're not at a sales seminar? Oh. So I just created a community, didn't I? A community of people who saw Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. So is that what we're here for? No. No, that's not what we're here for. You're authentic people who want to connect better and care more. So I'm proud to be here with you guys, looking for the human juice, the sap of our species. And that's love. There are lots of words you can call love: connectedness, attachment, bonding. I'm a psychologist, I can't help it. Caring, canoodling, tender warmth, group cohesiveness. See, what would be another? Oh, sense of community. There's one. Well, it doesn't really matter what you call it. We're here to understand and master it. Well, that's why I'm here today, I guess, because David thinks I know something about it. I developed a theory of sense of community, and it's now 30 years old, so it's had a chance to stand the wars of trying to be torn apart. So far, it's held up pretty good. You guys are here because you want to know more about this, and I started writing this about 1972 when Seymour Saracen came out as a community psychologist, and he said, you know, this is the essence of what community psychology is about, sense of community. But the problem is he didn't know how to define it. Like love, it was a mystery to him. Well, I thought I knew how to define it. And the reason I knew was because I grew up in a small town with 30 aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents around in a 2-block radius. And then friends and neighbors beyond that, all of whom had the right to grab me by my backside and give me what for when I needed it. So I just thought about that place, and out of the sky fell the 4 elements. I took the 4 elements. I think they're up here now, yes. And I went to the group cohesiveness literature and social psychology. I examined the literature, found indeed they were there. And in fact, the sub-elements were also there. So each of the 4 elements have about 4, 5, 6 sub-elements. Then from that, I went to designing a questionnaire. 72 items later, each sub-element has about 3 or 4 items. That was fielded by the Center for Community Studies and Abe Wandersman in 1975 or 5. This is a love. You really think that it's a thing? Sense of community, a thing? It's a sense of, after all. I had never even imagined that these 4 elements wouldn't be just all mixed up. So when we put it in the field, among us, say 100 respondents, analyzed the data, the 4 elements came out exactly like I imagined them. And the sub-elements came right in place, right under them. Amazing. I was so surprised, so gratified. But as you begin to understand the theory, you'll see it's really very simple. It makes so much common sense. So we have a theory. Now, I'd like to tell you a story, if I can. Maybe it's asking a little too much to tell you this story. It's a personal story. It has a lot of personal information that you don't necessarily want to know, but I'm going to see if you will allow me. I'll tell it. And it'll illustrate the theory. And as I do, I want you to think of your story too, And see if you can, as we go through the elements of the theory, see if you can see in your story and my story where the four elements are. So, Gary Geist, Rabu Rogers, me, Tommy and Lee Elledge, David and Donnie Shaw are riding our bicycles as fast as we can, running away from Red Newsstand where we just stole a Playboy magazine. We're on our way to my grandmother's house, where behind her house is a ravine, and in the ravine, under a log, there's a tin file box locked with the key. We had the key. Inside the file box were a bunch more Playboy magazines. And there we were about to engage in our sacred ritual, the circle jerk. Okay, now, this story has all the elements of sense of community in it. So now we're going to go to the elements and the sub-elements, and we're going to walk through it. And now I want you to also think about your story, a time when the Spirit moved you, a time when you knew you were with something more than yourself, and see if you can find the elements in your story. So to the first element. The first element is membership, spirit, or religion. Well, there's something that you got with some other person or people that's really precious, intimate, tender, that needs the protection of boundaries. Boundaries say who belongs and who doesn't belong, who's in and who's out. So what does this thing around your neck say? You belong. You're here. So there's a membership, a sense of who belongs and who doesn't. Now, these boundaries create a safe place for people to tell the truth. So the boundaries create this safe place for people to do their truth-telling, and as they do this truth-telling, what emerges is a sense of belonging. There are three parts of sense of belonging. One is that as you approach, you believe that you'll be welcome. The second is that as you just exist among the people, among your people, as I exist among you, my people, I feel accepted. You feel accepted, hopefully. Then the third part of sense of belonging is that you notice that when you move toward people who are your people, they get out, they make a place for you. The next piece of membership, spirit. Remember I said there starts out there's some spirit that needs protection. Okay, membership, spirit. The next element is that you're willing to pay your dues. Because you spent your money and said, here, I'll give you these resources and put in my time, you have paid your dues and you feel, one, entitled to be here, and two, welcomed by David who got the money. So you're wanted by people around you and you're entitled to be here. So that's the first element, and that's about religion or spirit. This is where the priests are in a community, in protecting the spirit. So the second element has to do with influence. Influence, trust, and government. So, a community has to matter enough to you that you will sacrifice to belong. Meaning that if they need you to change and grow and be different and conform, you will. Because you want to be a part of it. If it doesn't have that, if it doesn't influence you, if you're not willing to change, then the community doesn't matter to you. So, among the changing you must be willing to do is you must be willing to agree to some covenant, some expectations, some norms, some rules, some laws. You must be willing to drive on the right side of the road. And when you do, notice the traffic goes great. Isn't it amazing what norms can do? When everybody knows what to expect of everybody else, the community can flow so well because people know how to work with each other and collaborate. Without these agreements, without your promise, without integrity, a community cannot work. You have to make promises, keep them, and work together and agree so that everybody knows what to expect of one another, and then you can dance. You can really dance when you know what the rules are. And as you dance, notice that the energy begins to flow because expectations are known. And as the energy flows, trust is built. And as trust is built, the energy flows more. And as more trust is built, the energy flows more and more and more. The same is true with wealth. That's how wealth is created. Think about bartering. No trust in bartering. Then we have a medium of exchange, some level of trust in a medium of exchange. Whiskey was a medium of exchange. Beaver skins were a medium of exchange. Then money. We had gold. We had coins. Then we had paper. Then we had banks loaning people's money to other people. The more trust there is, the more wealth there is. And fear does the opposite. So building trust, helping people know what to expect of you, knowing what to expect of each other, builds power for everybody. And as Robin said, you get power. The main message I got from Robin was, you get power by giving power away. You get power by giving power away. The more you listen, the more you let other people move you, the more they're going to make room for you to move them. In that third meeting, they're finally going to ask, as Robin said, well, what can I do for you? So we have a religion, and now we have a government that has created a structure around which we know how people are going to behave. We have rules and laws, decisions that can be made. We have ways of making decisions. This is the second element. The third element. The third element is reinforcement, integration of needs, or trade, or the economy. See, the government has created a way to trust, a structure, and now we can trade. This is the sad news. This is the place where most people don't like sense of community theory. Most people like to think of love and sense of community and social glue, whatever you want to call it, as wonderful, caring. All you have to do is love. All you need it. No, not right. You need to bring something of value to the table. If you don't have something of value, you will not be there long. If the community doesn't bring something of value to you, it will not last. So in most social communities, there's status, there's influence, there's connections, there's resources. There's many reasons for being in a social community as there are people, but there has to be one. And communities have to want you, because you have to bring something they want. Once that's done, once that's clear, there are 4 types of trades that all social communities do. The first I call Baptist trades, or consensual trades. I grew up in the South, so Baptist is. So Baptist trades means, or consensual trades means that, golly, you guys are dressed alike. Y'all notice how alike you dress? This community has something in common, doesn't it? I bet it has a lot in common, really. I bet if we sat around and started asking what do we have in common, we'd come up with a ton of things. That's consensual trading. What we have in common, what we share. The problem with this trading, though it builds the ego, makes us all feel good, makes us feel better about ourselves, that you think what I think and I think what you think, and we're really something, aren't we? And we're right, aren't we? And we are right, of course we are. So that adds no real value. That feels good, but it doesn't really do anything. Value only comes when you integrate differences. This is called complementary trading. You got a line, I got a pole. Now we're more than the sum of our parts. Now we're adding value. Without taking differences and putting them together, we cannot add value. And so many communities, Baptists, so many communities tend to want everybody to be the same. And then they don't get it that they don't add any value if they don't have differences. There are two types of complementary trades. One is called transformative trading, or transformative trades. And that's a trade, well, you're here today. You came here today wanting to know something about community. You know something at one level, you know something about community. But you'd like to leave knowing more. Well, let's say we accomplished our purpose, and you leave knowing more. That's a transformative trade. You came at one level, we gave you some information, you gave money, the trade, you leave transformed, different than you were when you came in. A person wants to be a plumber, goes to plumbing school, pays the money, comes out a plumber, transformed. Now, the next type of trade is generative trading. Every community must do this to survive. You must take the generation below you and prepare them to become the next generation with power. This is succession planning in business. This is elections in government. This is the father teaching the son about how to run a farm. Every community must have some way of passing power and helping people be prepared to take it. So, that's the third element. We have religion, we have government, and we have economy. I'm very fond of the fourth element. The fourth element is shared emotional connection in time and space, or art, or the fourth estate, the media. So there was in the 1950s this called the contact hypothesis. The contact hypothesis was simply, among psychologists, social psychologists, you put people in a room together, let them spend time together, have them talk, exchange, and they'll leave becoming closer, more connected, more bonded. Well, it worked, actually, much of the time, except when it didn't work. Well, it doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work in South Africa, it doesn't work in Northern Ireland, it doesn't work in Israel. There's a lot of places it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because there has to be something quality to the time. Something has to happen in the time you spend together to make the bond. I call it a shared valent event. So, we had two shared valent events. There was the idiot falling up the stairs. You had some empathy with my stupidity, and then this lostness, this sense of being at the wrong place, selling somebody, getting somebody, being Zig Ziglar, you know. We all had this moment. It was a dramatic moment. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, I gave you too much personal information. I used a word that was really sort of inappropriate. So now we have two dramatic events that we all shared. This moment when David fell up the stairs and told you about his boyhood masturbation fantasy. Sorry. That's a shared valent event. But many of you know what trauma bonds are. That's the same thing, another emotion that connects people. The most important thing for the racial harmony in the United States probably has been the military and the integration of the military and the fact that people shed blood right next to each other for the same purpose, and they became the same. They shared a bond that will never be broken, that transcends everything else, because they shared a shared valent event, a dramatic moment. Now, this stupid guy who just got up here and fell up the stairs and told you too much about himself, that may not be such an auspicious start. So we get to the second part of of what quality time is, and that is the time needs to have a purpose, a direction, some sense of where we're going. It needs to have a beginning and an end. It needs to have closure. If shared time doesn't have closure, a sense of what we're doing here, a sense of what roles we're playing, I'm up here talking, you're sitting here looking at me, hoping to get some information. We know what we're doing here, and hopefully I'm doing that. And then we know I'm going to be finished in a few minutes. So, that gives us closure. Now, the last piece is, and maybe the most important is, an event should honor its members. If an event honors its members, they're going to want to be connected. If an event humiliates its members, they're not going to want to be with you. Humiliation is the worst thing you can do, especially public humiliation, to create community. So, you want to be sure the event honors its members. And to do that, you tell the story. You tell the story. You tell the story, and you tell the story, and you tell the story until traditions begin to emerge. Rituals tend to fall out of the sky. You repeat these things to make this story alive still now. Sacraments, symbols. Symbols. Remember symbols? Did I say in the first element that symbols create boundaries? I don't think I said that. Well, they do. Symbols create boundaries. This thing, this wedding ring, symbols create boundaries. So now we're back in a circle. We've got it all in a loop. The community is all, the theory is all four elements are relating each to the other. So, that's it. That's the theory. So, what I wish you would do, I want you to go home. I want you to tell somebody you trust. Something that's a little too much. Take a risk. Ask them to catch it, hold it, protect it. Then maybe they might tell you something, and if they do, you catch it, take it, hold it, protect it. And tell them there's a place right next to you, right here, that they belong with you, and you're going to reserve a special place just for them. Tell them that they matter. They matter enough that you'll change, you'll grow, you'll do something different because they need you to. Love doesn't mean you don't have to apologize. Being connected doesn't mean you don't have to sacrifice. You sacrifice because you care. And tell them you care. And then make agreements. Build norms. The more expectations you create, the better you'll dance with them. And then trade. Give them something of value that they don't have. And accept something from them that you don't have that's of value to you. learn, teach, grow, and prepare them for the day when you're not going to be there. Then tell the story. Tell the story. It's so much fun to tell the story about people you love, about why you love them and how great they are. Tell the story. Create rituals and symbols, traditions. And as you do this, notice that your ability to build community has grown. Thank you.